What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. We are back. No episode last week. We apologize, but sometimes life gets busy, and we have to make adult choices like getting the bills paid.
Yeah, I had a 93-year-old father-in-law in town, so I was busy taking care of him, and you had stuff you had to do, so it was just a crazy week.
I feel like after 7 years, has it been 7 years thereabouts?
I think it's coming up. I think it's officially happening. Is it next week? This week or next week? I think we're officially at starting our 7th year.
So we're ending season 6, going on season 7.
Yeah.
I think we've earned the right that if we don't have to put one out every week. We like to because it's good for us, but if we don't feel bad about it anymore.
Yeah, but life goes pretty
does
fast though, and when we don't talk for 2 weeks, a lot of shit happens in 2 weeks, man.
Oh, buddy, you are telling me, man. So we never got a chance we got to spend the weekend with each other weekend before last.
Yeah.
And we had quite a great time. I think it's always fun seeing you and Noreen because we do cool things.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good time. We did 2 things that we've never really done, while we've been down here. And so it was a lot of fun to see you guys. And we had to go up to, Williams on Saturday, and you guys had to run a race on Saturday. So we didn't get to see you all day Saturday. But we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we got to go. If you haven't had a chance to go to do a live soccer game or European football game, I recommend it. It was a lot of fun. We went to the Phoenix Rising, and the way their stadium is set up in the part of town, getting there and just going there is an experience all in itself, let alone watching the game happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I went to work on Monday after we went to the game and was talking to some people, and you should have seen how many people were eavesdropping in on my conversation. Like, oh my God, how was it? It was so fun. Yeah, was it good? I said, oh, it was fantastic. I recommend it highly. I recommend it highly. A lot of fun, a very even keel. It was just a great time.
Yeah, Janice and I were talking on the way home on Sunday that, if we lived in the Valley, we would have season tickets to the Rising.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because if you think about it, the game started at 7:30. We were driving home by a little after 9:30, so it wasn't terrible.
Oh, and I think it's Tuesday nights they have $1 beer nights.
So that alone, you can pay for the rest of the season tickets right there on dollar beer night.
Exactly.
I'll be damned if you don't send me down to a little place like that for dollar beer night and have a good old time.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
We will join the Banditos at that point. The Banditos are the supporters. We will join them, no problem.
It was just fun to see you guys too. Sometimes life gets moving, and we've talked about this before. We used to have a family Thanksgiving, and then we used to have a friends Thanksgiving. Remember?
Yeah.
And the family is who you're born with. Friends are who you choose. And we're going on almost 20 years we've known each other.
Yeah. We
I mean, so we've known each other a long time,
drink.
and that friendship has, and then obviously this podcast has grown the friendship, but it's been a long time. And so when you guys came down, it was just good to see you. First of all, we hadn't seen you in a while, but then too, to kind of do some fun activities and remember the fun times that we had and relive those. That was fun.
Yeah. It's nice doing a couple things when, someone like Janice just fits in so well, and she's so much fun to be around with her, and she adores you and Noreen too, so that helps.
Aww.
Because if she did,
love her too.
It'd be a different story.
We're like your parents. We love her more than we love you.
That's everybody seems to have that same sentiment these days. Like if something ever happens, like they're keeping her, and I'm just gonna go.
Oh, join the club, dude. You and I are both the outcasts in this whole thing. I mean,
right?
If we break up, Noreen is in. I am in the car with Ellie.
Don't worry. Our intern is right there with us because I'm pretty sure everyone loves his fiance more than him at this point too. So
yep. I think that's the way
three
it
of us.
goes.
It'll just be the 3 of us again.
I know, the 3 amigos as
just like
usual.
the old days. Yeah,
it's a Jason. It's a Scott Kern sandwich, man. Surrounded by 2
with Jason's of the bread. That sounds
right.
weird. Let's never say that again.
Let's not talk about threesomes ever like that again.
Oh yeah, oof, yeah. Don't ever call it that again. That's weird. Some of our viewers are probably enjoying that thought, but let's be real. It's not as pretty as it sounds.
No, that would not be that would not be good. That would not be good.
So, like we talked about, last week was a busy week. This week, coming into the weekend, man, there was so much going on in the community. We had a terrible tragedy up here last week that the community's in mourning over the loss of some teenage lives. I always appreciate how small towns can rally around families and rally around tragedies and make us a tighter knit community. Um, and to see that happen in town last week over the last week has been really cool. So I've been very heavily involved in just helping with stuff where I can and so forth. But this weekend, Janice's oldest had her birthday party. She wanted a sleepover, a double sleepover. Jason, do you know what a double sleepover is?
I've never heard of that.
Neither did I. That is apparently the whole weekend.
A double. Oh, I see. Friday night, Saturday night.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Long week. Wow. Okay. Like what?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like what we had the weekend before, we had a double
Yes.
sleepover.
Yes.
And this, okay. So they had a double sleepover. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I guess so. Same thing.
Okay.
But
How'd it go?
on our double sleepover, we went out and did our own thing and we weren't with each other 24/7.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You
Our
know.
sleepover was definitely you do your thing, we do thing, and we'll meet you somewhere.
Yeah.
Theirs
Which is
was
great.
48 hours of continued presence with each other.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Lessons were learned from everybody.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Jocelyn will be doing that again. I believe she enjoys her friends,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure her friends appreciated the thought that Jocelyn put into what she wanted to do, or the things that were provided for them over the weekend. Now, mind you, I stayed out of this a lot because the things I heard that were going to happen give someone like me anger and anxiety issues.
Oh, okay.
You know,
That bad, huh? Okay, yeah. Well, okay. So they got there Friday night after school.
there's no school on Fridays, but yeah, Friday night after work they got here. They had food and they were in the room all weekend. Saturday they went to the fair together all day. And Janice and our friend Danielle had to go to a gathering Saturday evening, so they were left with me for a few hours. And I found out that the two friends that stayed were terrified of me, which it's a nice feeling.
Oh wow, you scared a little girl. Okay, all right.
Because when I speak to children, I bark because they don't listen otherwise.
You do have you have a very impending voice. I will say that you have a very impending voice.
Yeah, it's direct and it's to the point. And they said nothing to us all weekend. No thank you, no hello, no goodbye. So,
Ooh.
Yeah. After they left, the Irish goodbye to us yesterday, which I thought was very ballsy. And for those that don't know what an Irish goodbye is, 'cause I had to explain this on a different conversation the other day. It's when you just walk out the door, you don't say goodbye, you just slip out and hope you're not noticed.
Really? One of the girls did that?
Both girls did that. Irish goodbye.
Oh, for a birthday? Oh man.
Well, I believe they said goodbye to Jocelyn. But Janice and I got nothing. No goodbye, no thank you. Not that I expected it.
No, I disagree. I mean, that someone extends their house for a weekend, the least you can do is interact with those people and say thank you so much for the time.
I agree. And I hope that Jocelyn's very blunt, so I'm sure she said something to that, not that eloquent, but she said something, or she will say something at some point. But after those kids left, man, we told them, pick everything up, that the food, the stuff away. And I told Jocelyn, if your friends don't help you when they're gone, you got to do it all on your own. And she spent all Sunday afternoon cleaning up everything that they didn't help her with. And then we just found little things they got into they weren't supposed to get into. All the just little things that it's like, like you said, we open our house to you. We try to do something fun for you, and there's such a lack of respect.
How close are these girls to Jocelyn?
From what I understand, they are in the friend group.
Okay. All right.
So, okay, it's whatever. And we told them, we're thankful you're a good kid, and I'm sure your friends are nice, but as a learning opportunity, whenever you go to someone's house, help clean up, please, thank you, use your manners. You know, even if it's just for a couple hours, you don't have to. So, long story short, that was the experience I went through all weekend. So, I was very happy they got to go to the fair all day because I got to go watch the Suns game
Oh, the Saturday.
for my
Okay, yeah.
duty on Saturday afternoon. So I felt pretty good about that. But yeah, man, it's definitely wild. It's such a learning experience. I don't know if it's good or bad, but um, Janice and I pretty much decided like crap with everything that happened with that teenage tragedy. Like you want your kids to be around other good kids, and you can only protect them so much because accidents can happen, and accidents do happen. And you know, if you want to make sure all the kids are as safe as possible, whether you like them or not, you have to make your house that fun house for the teenagers. And as I was informed last night that we are going to have to become that house, I am still making my peace with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember we would do, one of the experiences I remember so vividly when I was about 6 or 7 is, a friend of mine, invited me to his house. It was going to be a sleepover. Him and I, he had, two parents, but he was a single child, just like I was. I shouldn't say it. He had a young sister, like a baby sister. Well, he
Yeah.
invited me over to his house and I had said yes. And then another kid, was having a sleepover at his house and invited me to go. And I was really tempted to say yes and blow off the first friend. And my mom stopped me right there and said, no, Jason, you committed to your friend.
Yep.
You don't change midstream because you think you have a better option. You committed to your friend and you follow through. And I went over to my friend's house, the first friend, and we had a really good time. And it was just a great lesson that, you know what? Yeah, it's okay to say no after someone's already asked you to do something. It's okay to say no to the next person because ultimately, you don't do that to your friends. If they're your
Yeah.
friends, you don't do that. You say yes, you're going to do something, then you do it. So
And yeah, we told her that this is a lesson for her to learn to be strong in her own being too, and it's okay to tell your friends no when it's at your house. Because if your friends don't like the answer, because you know the answer is going to be no or it's wrong, and they decide to leave, well, too bad, so sad. Your friends can leave.
yeah, I
They
mean,
have cell phones. Parents can pick them up at any given time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the bigger lesson right there is to say these are the kind of friends that you've chosen, and you've learned a little something about them. Now, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you're necessarily going to throw away the friendship, but you might reconsider if that's the kind of friend that you want to keep or to have.
And I think we've all experienced that throughout our lifetimes on numerous levels through different stages of our lives because we've all got friends that we've had in different stages.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to really talk about it is, if you're doing a certain phase in your life, you're in a certain phase in your life, you have friends that meet that criteria, and it's okay to outgrow them. It's okay to move on to a different level and level up. And it's great when you have friends that can level up and cheer for you and do their own thing, but you guys still stay tight. But some people, they're not there for a long time. They're just there for a good time.
Well, I don't know. I have a tough time with this one because, I mean, obviously we all grow up. We all go our separate ways. Some of us have a very close knit group of friends like we do, and we do a lot of things with them, and it's great. But on the other side, there are friends like Denver Dean. I mean, he is like a brother to me, and there was a time for about 10 years where we didn't talk very much, but we always knew that we were friends for each other. We always knew
Yeah.
that we would be there, for each other. And lately that friendship has strengthened again because of some personal things going on in his life. And I think he values my presence in there. It would have been very easy for me to say, well, we don't ever talk unless I initiate, or we don't ever talk. Some friends, it doesn't matter, right? Like for some friends, it doesn't matter if we don't talk every day or if we don't talk every other day. It's okay. We understand that. But this situation with Jocelyn, it's kind of a slap in the face, right? I mean, it's kind of that slap in the face, like, wow, you guys didn't seem to appreciate the effort that I put into this. And sometimes that can sting for a while.
Yeah, it can, and I think a lot of it came from they were stuck together for 2 days straight. Sometimes buffer. You can have the best laid plans, but sometimes things go awry. You decide you want to do something else or try something else, and like I get it. Um, it's better to learn that now than later on. Uh, I have to laugh though because the things like Janice and I found like all throughout Sunday, just like, did you guys get into this? And every time I thought that kid was out of the woods and she'd been talked to enough about responsibility, something else would pop up, and it was almost from an outside perspective, a parental perspective, it was kind of comical, but you still had to talk to her about it. And that poor kid, man, she took it like a champ. And like after a certain points, like, listen, you're not in trouble, but we also found X, Y, and Z. So be aware. It's okay to say no.
And don't you find that throughout this time, we're constantly learning more and more as we go from 10 to 11 to 13 to
Oh
15,
yeah.
17, 19, 20. You're learning more and more, that, sometimes you just don't know,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
we would rather her. She's comfortable to talk to us about everything. So, as long as she knows she can still talk to us about it, everything's fine. It's good. It's just funny to see how the more relationships and friendships evolve with the way our society is, some things just stay the same because it's just the age. You're just dumb at that age. And you can't help it.
And don't you think though also, Scott, is that as you get older, you recognize much earlier, much simpler what you can tolerate, right? So for
Yes.
example, a weekend with you guys down here, fantastic. Hey, I'm going to be down there for 3 weeks.
Nope.
It might be more of an adjustment. And we instantly both say, yeah, maybe not 3 weeks. Maybe we can do like a few days.
Yeah.
We can do a few days, but at the end of the day, we've gotten to that point where you just know, hey, I can handle you in this amount of spurt. I don't know if I want to handle you in a longer
This
spurt.
amount of spurt.
Now,
Yeah,
don't get me wrong,
exactly.
Scott. If you had told me, hey, I need to be down here for a week because we've got health issues or something, I know
Oh yeah.
you know me and I know you well enough. Yeah, you guys just go to your room, do whatever you want to do. We'll do whatever we want to do. If we want to meet up, you want to have dinner, whatever. But and we've had friends that have done that, come down and stay with us a little bit longer, and it was fine. It worked out pretty good. But
Yeah.
we also learned, okay, there's some limits. Like
Yeah.
after about day 4 or 5 with my mom, I start to get real testy. Like
Yeah.
I
I
start
get
to get
that.
like, oh, mom, I need to. It's been great. I've really enjoyed it, but now I need to. I need to move on. I need to do something else.
It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, but it's time to go do something fun somewhere else.
Yeah, because ultimately our society has kind of grown in that way, right? I mean, we like I am always amazed how like Oriental families, Indian families, they can have 4 generations of people living in the house and they don't seem to mind it at all.
Yeah, it's because they're used to it.
Whereas I mean, we had my father-in-law, 93-year-old man, for a week, and we were done. We were done. Like it was really a challenge toward the end.
Oh,
It
I
was a real
bet.
challenge. So, when you have a situation like that, you only learn that through life, right? So Jocelyn has to go through these painful stages so that she can learn what she's willing to do and not do in adulthood.
Oh yeah, and like I said, whatever I'm sure they're still friends. It's us as the parental figures that now get to decide. It's like, yeah, I want that friend to come over. No, that friend doesn't have to come over anymore. It's fine. But I will say, from an adult perspective, one of the best friendships you can have as an adult are the friends you don't have to say a lot, but if you send memes back and forth to each other, that's a form of communication now, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because I've got quite a few friends that that's what I do. I send them memes. They send me memes. Dave Watson, we don't get a chance to talk a lot, but we send memes back and forth, and we laugh, and it's a good time. It's because it's still a connection.
So what do you do with a friend who doesn't respond as much as you'd like them to?
Oh, you know my rule. I'll reach out twice, then it's up to you.
So it doesn't bother you if someone doesn't respond as much as you'd like them to.
No, no. I mean, that happens. Like it goes in spurts. It's like you talked about with Denver Dean. There are certain things that you just, life happens. And as you get older, I think you appreciate that life just happens and you have to deal with it. It doesn't happen the way you obviously want it to all the time, but it's better to, um, just admit like, hey man, life's busy. I'm sorry. I know, if it's super important, I will make time for you.
Yeah.
But if it's not, I'm sorry, man, I'll get you when I get you.
So what do you think the main lesson that Jocelyn learned with this weekend?
2 days is too much for a sleepover.
Well, now, once again,
Otherwise, it's okay to say no. If you know what the answer is going to be, or you don't feel okay with it, don't let your friends force you into asking things or doing things you don't want to do.
yeah, now that's a very valuable lesson. Let me ask you this: if she had done it one day, would she have had? You think she would have had a different experience?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
Because
I think so.
what would have been the big difference?
I think, in her words, the biggest problem was when they got back from the fair until the sun went down, they started watching movies. There was like 4 or 5 hours of daylight where they were bored. There's nothing to do. Well, there's plenty to do. They just didn't want to do the options they had.
Oh.
So.
I see. Okay. So
I
maybe
think,
that was the main lesson is, you can't try to fit 48 hours worth of activities all day long. At some point you need to take a break where, it's okay not to do anything.
exactly. And it's also a good reminder that, kids tend to think that parents are just made of unlimited funds and have unlimited time to go do the things they want to go do. And also a wake up call of like, no, you guys have done quite a bit and gotten quite a bit, so you can chill out and just watch movies for a while or go ride your bikes or draw on the sidewalks.
Wow. Or clean up all this excess food.
Yeah, that too, man.
Clean up
I'll
all
tell
this
you
excess food, man.
I will tell you this we have some other stuff to talk about. The last thing I will say that just like kind of just sent me off the deep end was Sunday morning. Like I'm talking to Janice in the kitchen. I'm meal prepping. Like I'm making egg rolls. I've got a pretty good air fried egg roll recipe.
Oh.
So I'm meal prepping for the week. And I look up and I see one of the kids eating in Jocelyn's room. And I said, hey, there's no eating in the bedrooms. And kid stands up and just goes to the side of the room.
Oh.
And I finished my conversation with Janice. I just looked at her and said, hey, for the record, you did hear me say that, right? She goes, yeah. And I said, nobody came out with food, right? She goes, yep. Okay. She goes, I'll take care of it so you don't have to.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's just rude. See, that kind of stuff is just rude.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder. I mean, is that the kid? Is that the parents? Is that the environment? I mean, what? Like,
I think it's a combination of the age and everything. I really do. Because it's, I like to think that I was like, oh, sorry, and bring everything out. But, if the kids don't know any better, no one's ever told them because maybe they're allowed to eat in their house, in their room, but that's their house and their room, their rules. But
to disrespect the person, like, no eating in the room. Okay, whatever. Oh, okay,
yeah.
whatever, huh? That's your answer? Okay.
Yeah. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You'd like to do what now? No, it's fine. You guys can sit and watch TV until your parents pick you up. We're good. We're done here for the day. Anyway, though, it was a learning experience for everybody. I mean, ultimately, I think she had fun. Lessons were learned. I was very happy to go back to work Monday morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Get back to the normal swing of things.
Exactly. They get to finish up baseball this week, and then it's back to regularly scheduled life. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's it sounds like maybe she learned a lesson. Maybe you just realized that if it's I don't do double weekends like that, or is it these friends are not the kind of friends I do that with? I might do it with other people, but not these people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you and I both have friends where it's like, I wouldn't spend a weekend with that person.
No, I'll have lunch. I'll have a beer.
Yeah, I mean, we can go out to dinner. We can go out to dinner. But I'm not spending a ton of time.
No, but I think boundaries. As you get older, you learn boundaries, and I think that's maybe the moral of the story. here today is if you learn boundaries as you go, if you learn boundaries to keep yourself from getting put in bad situations, you'll do a lot better in life the sooner you learn that lesson. And some people learn that harder than others, you know?
Yeah, I think also too is I'm one of these type of people that I'm going to put something out there. If you don't want to come and do that, not a problem. You're not hurting my feelings. You're not. I mean, I'll put it out there and do something. I think so many people are like, well, yeah, but if someone doesn't do it, then that's a slight against me, or that's they don't want to be around me. Now we're learning, yeah, maybe they're just not comfortable. Maybe they don't know how to handle those situations like her friends, maybe,
Yeah.
we're getting mad at her because they didn't act a certain way, but maybe they didn't know what to
They don't
do
know
either.
exactly.
So,
It goes both ways. I get it. It's just
yeah.
growing up, man. It's a lot different than it used to be.
Yep, that's
Yep.
true. That's true. And like you said, as I said earlier, we choose our friends now, right? You choose the
Yeah.
people you want to hang out with, and if you don't want to hang out with them, then you either don't hang out with them anymore, or you just hang out with them a lot less.
Right. So, by circumstance, uh, that's a life lesson we all learned at some point.
Yes.
But we did actually have other topics we're going to discuss tonight. But as we creep to the end of the show, we'll just hit on some few random things and just say, things that make you go, segments going into year 7 of Liquid Carnage.
Yes.
Big time firings this week in the media outlets. One, Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon, both relieved of their duties from their respective companies, CNN and Fox News.
Yeah, and the one that's perplexing to me is what in the world is Fox thinking? I mean, that's your number one asset. Like them or not, that's your number one asset. That would be like saying, okay, you know what? Kyler Murray, you're gone. And or Devin Booker, you're gone because we're going to make a statement. Yeah, you're going to make a statement that you're going to lose a lot of money, right? You're going to lose.
I believe that this is probably tied to the Dominion lawsuit settlement with Fox News. It seems like
if that's the case, then Fox is in real trouble as a company. Fox is in real trouble if that is their long-term plan to get rid of assets that are toxic or could cause toxicity. That's not a good sign.
Hey man, they raised their rates for all their subscriptions by $3 to help cover the cost for that settlement. So they're clearly on their way.
Oh gosh, okay.
Fleecing the old folks of America one subscription at a time. That's Fox News.
So what do you think the outcome for Tucker Carlson is going to be?
Oh, he'll end up somewhere. He'll be fine. Podcast.
Do you think he'll do like Alex Jones, like a streaming thing?
Probably. Yeah. That's what they do now. That seems to be the easiest avenue to keep making money and pilfering sponsorships. And the problem is most of his demographic can't find those online. So it'll be interesting to see how he adapts. But as we wrap up today's show, man, if you learned a life lesson about growing up and friendship and when to say when and learning your turns to say no, we want to hear about it. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. Or if you have any summer barbecue tips for the greater Colorado area for our EP, he wants to hear it at liquid_EP on Twitter and the Instagram.
Yeah, I think that it would be interesting. I always thought the whole thing with Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson made me wonder, when a company does that, when they let someone go for cause or let someone go because they're not the right fit, how they justify it, why they justify it, when they justify it. I've always been fascinated by that because it doesn't just reek of, you're only doing it because you had to pay out $800 million. You wouldn't have done this if Dominion hadn't filed a lawsuit. Someone said recently that this is why the courts work in this country is because the courts level out the playing field to say when something is right or something is wrong, they will, do something like they did with Fox News. So, if that's the case, then, I wish Tucker Carlson the best of luck. I know he'll land on his feet. I'm not quite sure what Fox is going to do. That's a pretty big.
They'll have people fill in for him until they figure out what they're going to do.
I'm more worried about the millions of watchers of Tucker Carlson who are going to be so pissed that they'll just not watch Fox News anymore.
Yeah, but that just means they turn to OAN or Newsmax, and that's not much better.
Right, but that's not good for Fox, right? That's not good
No.
for Fox. That was why they did all this stuff, is to try to keep their membership up. So
yeah, but again, a different conversation for a different day. We are out of time. Jason, take us home.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you as always. That was Scott. I am Jason, and as